Welcome back to our latest episode of LUX CHATS. Joining me today is young Oscar. We're a pleasure to have you on board for LUX CHATS, and we're at that creative hub. So welcome back. Your first podcast, I hear.
It is my first. I don't know how many more of them I'll be doing, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think the key to getting known is really just going out there and going outside your comfort zone. And in terms of doing that, you've set up quite a new business. Do you want to tell us about what you're doing and what you're aspiring to do in the near future?
Yeah, so I'm 20 years old, and a year out of high school, I started my first business. I was always set on starting a business once I left school. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it straight after school like I did, or if I was going to wait a couple of years, but that was a goal of mine that I always wanted to do, and social media marketing was what I landed on. I went for social media marketing because I thought it was something that I'd enjoy. I was very much an analytical student at school. I didn't do a lot of creative subjects at all, and I wasn't using that creative side of the brain. I knew doing social media, coming up with ideas for different types of businesses, it would force me to use that creative side of the brain. And I thought it was something that I could scale. I didn't want to be trapped in a business that I couldn't work on and I couldn't grow. And so, I landed on social media marketing, and that's where we're at the moment. In the future, I'm hoping just to sort of scale it up. It's a very new process to me. Obviously, I'm quite young and I haven't done any of this before, but I'm really excited for the process of learning how to scale a business, because even if it doesn't work on this one, I'm going to bounce back straight away and start something else, and hopefully take the lessons from that failure and move it on into the next business.
I think sometimes, and what I see with podcasts generally, is I'm interviewing an older gentleman or lady, and they've already had those trials and tribulations, and they're now telling the story of success. And in this case, you're going to be telling the story from the viewpoint of a 20-year-old. And I think the big advantage that you have is the absolute freedom that you get. With social media marketing, you can work globally. I see you now filming out on site. Love to hear about some of the exercises that you've been doing and maybe some of the locations you've been to so far. So an example of maybe 2 or 3. I guess what you had in your mind of social media marketing versus what you're actually doing, how does that compare?
Yeah, well, to answer your first question about some of the different places that I've been able to go to, originally we had a couple of clients just in our local area. So we had sort of a kids' clothing store and a wine bar, and they were on the same street, very close to my house, so it wasn't too much sort of going out there and travelling too much. But in the last few months, I've had the pleasure of meeting a fantastic bunch of new people through LUX, and a few of them have come on board as clients, and they're sort of, located all over the place. They've got work to do all over the place, and it's led me to visit places that I'd never even thought about visiting before. I went out and saw some of the sort of new development estates out sort of, I wouldn't say regional, but greater Melbourne, like Rockbank and Donnybrook and places like that. And I would never go there in my spare time, but with my business and being able to meet people from all over Melbourne and hopefully eventually all over the world as well, it forces you out of your comfort zone to places you've never been before. And that's really fun. And I suppose that was what I was expecting. I didn't want it to be something where I just stayed in my suburb that I've grown up in since I was 4 and not move out of that suburb at all. I was expecting, maybe not as quickly as I have, but I was expecting across the course of the journey to start working with people that are on the other side of Melbourne. Like we travel down to Moorabbin, for example, as well for one of our clients. He's got a garage down there. Again, never would ever expect to be going to Moorabbin for anything. I live on the other side of town. But examples like that and sort of spreading your wings out to different areas is really fun. And it was what I was expecting. And hopefully we can take that interstate and then eventually overseas as well.
So how have you grown your team so far, and how are you discovering your talent?
Yeah, so I think generally speaking, I'm a pretty organised person, I think, without sort of tooting my own horn. It's something that I probably learnt doing year 12. I went to St Bernard's College, and I owe that school a lot because it taught me a lot about how to sort of carry yourself as a man, enter as a boy, leave as a man. That's what they want. I feel like that's what happened with me. Year 12 taught me a lot about dealing with certain pressures from outside noise and things like that, and also being organised. You can't do well in Year 12 if you're all over the place and unorganised, and I took that with me to the business. And what was the question again? I've gone off on a tangent.
No, that's okay. So just want to know about how you've grown your team. And we've discovered, obviously, that you've become quite organised at Year 12.
Yep.
But that's led, obviously, you into meeting some great people and how you're really running your business now. So love to hear how you're growing your team and how that's working. So how those guys are complementing your skills.
Yeah. So with the business side of it, the organisation's definitely helped with that. As for growing the team, I was lucky enough to meet through social media a really talented photographer and videographer who lives in my area. His name's Anthony Stafraci, and he does a fantastic job behind the camera for all of our clients. So he takes care of the photos and the videos and all the editing and stuff like that, and he does a fantastic job. I've said to many people that if I had 10 of him, I'd probably be a millionaire by now, because that's how hard he works, and he does such a great job with that. And it's been us too for the last sort of 7-8 months, really, with the clients that we've worked with. We're starting to get to the point now where we're branching out, hopefully in the next couple of months, and start to bring a few people on board to fill some different roles to help scale. So one of the biggest things that I've always had in my mind, in the back of my mind, even before I started my business, through reading and meeting people and things like that, is you don't want to work on your business. You don't want to work in your business. You want to work on your business. And I've been working in my business, and I really want to transition into that point where I'm working on my business, and I've got other people that have come in and can do some of those other jobs, like the marketing jobs, which I'm doing at the moment.
So with that, how important is mentorship and surrounding yourself with the right people? So is there a few people that you follow that might be 4 to 5 years ahead of you that you want to pay some respect to?
There's a lot of even having not met them, I've read a lot of books about successful business people that I've taken a lot of lessons from. Patrick Bet-David's Your Next 5 Moves is one of my personal favourite business books. I'm reading Shoe Dog at the moment by Phil Knight, which is a memoir about the guy that founded Nike, for those who don't know. And that's a fantastic book as well. And he was really open with some of his flaws initially when he was first starting. It was called Blue Ribbon back then, but when he was first starting Nike, he was pretty open with his flaws about how he sort of managed people, and he wouldn't respond to letters and sort of leave people hanging and things like that. So I've been able to take different lessons from books from people like that to sort of keep in mind and implement with my business. Alex Hormozi is another one, very, very popular in the business world on social media. With his company and his lessons, his wife Layla as well is fantastic at what she does too. I've taken a lot of lessons from them, and then more so people that I've met. I mean, you're one of them. I've had the pleasure of meeting you in the last few months, and you've definitely taught me a lot of lessons. My old accounting teacher, Mr. Box, he was my Year 12 accounting teacher at St. Bernard's, and I don't know if he liked me when I was in his Year 12 accounting class, but we've sort of struck up a pretty good friendship since then. We still maintain contact.
What's his name?
Neville Box.
Do you call him Neville now or Mr. Neville?
Well, I always called him Boxy. That was his nickname at school. So everyone in his accounting class would call him Boxy. Only the accounting kids would call him Boxy because no one else knew him. And, you know, he's not exactly the most friendly looking teacher when you see him walking around the schoolyard. So it's always been Boxy, but I did call him Mr. Box a few times by accident, and he's always quick to correct me and make sure I call him Neville. But yeah, he's been a real mentor for me as well. Just with he wrote the accounting textbook for VCE as a whole. So when it comes to that subject, his expertise and knowledge is pretty much second to none. And I always go to him for advice.
Coming back to the social media side of it, so what you're doing for your clients. So whether they're hiring you to work for them or create their content, what are a couple of key things that you should really capture in the message when delivering a good social media post or story?
Well, story is the word that I was going to say anyway. I think social media is a great way particularly organic social media is a fantastic way to showcase your brand's personality and the story of who you are and the story about the people that work for you and things like that. It's a fantastic way of doing that. It's a little less formal than your typical sort of sales pitch to a bunch of people or a magazine ad or a TV ad or something like that. I think sometimes businesses can get sucked up into the idea of I have to promote something in every single post that I do. I think that actually has a counterproductive effect on the people that view the content, because they don't want to hear sales messages blasted in their face 24/7. They want to hear about you, and they want to hear about the people that work for your business, and they want to hear about the story and how the business got its name and the products and the connections that you've made along the way. People don't want to hear buy from me all the time. So when we work with clients, we really try and sort of say to them, as much as you want to see that ROI and that ROAS go up and get a return on every single ad that you post, it's not necessarily always about that. There's a lot of it that's focused on telling a story and projecting yourself.
It's
and
a
your
subtlety
personality.
too. The customer or the viewer knows what journey they're going on. I don't think every post needs to be viral. I think it's most important. I would agree with you there.
It's consistency.
It's definitely consistency. So that's the thing, is just keep showing up no matter what. So for anyone else that's out there, that's 18 now, about to either go to university or start their own business, or both. And I like that you've mentioned that schooling and entrepreneurship can go together. I've always kind of leaned towards the business acronym side. Do you think they should either invest in their university, get a few more lessons, or B, start jumping out into the world and having experience, or C?
I think if you can find a way to do both university and real world stuff, whether that's a business or an internship or something like that, do it.
Yeah.
I'm really, really big on not wasting your younger years. Another reason, that I started a business was because I had so much energy, so much time. Well, you think you have a lot of time, but it goes pretty quick, and pretty limited obligations. I'm pretty lucky to have sort of the support of my family, that my mum and dad have put a roof over my head ever since I was young. We've never had any sort of issues, so I'm pretty privileged in that regard. But, when you're young and you've got that opportunity where there's no pressures closing in. Like, I don't have kids, for example. I don't have a house to pay off yet. Throw yourself into it. You got so much time and so much energy. Throw yourself into it, which is what I did. I tried to do full-time uni and a business at the same time. That didn't quite work, so I had to switch to part-time uni. But I think it's important to still have the sort of backing of a university degree. A lot of people still look at that as credit and qualification. So it's important to have that, but there's no rush to get that finished. You don't have to finish it in 3 years and then go out into the real world and get an office job. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think if you're trying to pick between uni and starting a business, I'd try my best to do both if you can, and see how that goes. Because I use uni as a bit of a release from business sometimes, and vice versa.
It never really has to be that one thing either. As I said, you're sitting here today as a social media marketer. In 5-10 years, you could be in a totally different lane. But as I said, it's all about following the journey and the people you meet along the way. And you may meet a couple of new mentors, or business might change, or something happens with you. But I think it's important to have that vision written down. Let's just quickly fast forward 5-6 years. Where do you think you're living? Do you have a studio? Are you traveling the world? What does that look like for you? And what's maybe the ultimate project?
One of the best pieces of advice that I've ever heard, and this came from Alex Hormozi, was if you've got big dreams, open up your timeline instead of trying to compress it all into a really short period of time. So I don't have sort of an ideal vision of what I want to be in 5 years, but I definitely do for 20 or 25 years. And it makes you feel like you've got a lot more time, takes a lot of pressure off your shoulders to achieve what you want to achieve, because, people have got big dreams. I've got big dreams. You've got big dreams. A lot of the people that are probably watching this are in the same boat. opening up your timeline will make it feel like there's less need to get it done quickly, and then you can take your time with it and do it properly and do it right. In 25 years, I'd love to have a holiday house in Italy. I've got Italian heritage, and I really want to go and meet some of the family members that I've still got over there. I haven't met them before. They've always said that when I come over, they'll roll the red carpet out for me, so I'm excited for that. I'd love to have a few supercars as well. My dream classic car is a Ferrari F40.
Beautiful.
And, I've been, as an Italian, I've been to the Lygon Street Festival. They don't do it anymore, unfortunately, but when they used to do it, I used to go there, every couple of years with my family, and they'd have the Ferraris lined up, along Lygon Street, and you can't get to that point if you don't hustle and run your own business. It's impossible to do it working a job. I
think the most important thing is you don't have to necessarily own these things. You can rent them. There's nothing wrong with doing that, because there's people out there who aspire to own the jets. I want to own a jet. I want to run the helicopters. But really, at the end of the day, the cost of actually maintaining these things and doing that, it's about the experience and the feeling that you get from it. So traveling the world now, you just got to find some jobs in Italy. Get yourself on some Ferrari drive days. Not that hard to do. You just hang out with some of the lawbacks and start filming a bit of content that's around the cars. I think that's the great thing, is that the opportunity a 20-year-old has versus me at 20 is completely different. We lived through the analog through to the digital age. You're totally in the digital social media age where a Ferrari pulls up and you're capturing some content that can go viral. I think that's the big advantage. So we've discussed one of the Lux items here, and obviously you've gone, you sort of leaned into the house. Is there another ultimate Lux item that you think you'd love to own?
The jets and the yachts have never really appealed to me. I've always been more of a car guy. Obviously, the classic dream would be an F40. Something more modern would be a 911 Turbo S. It's probably my dream modern car. That's about as Lux as it gets for me, I think, to be honest. It's mostly just cars, and that's about it. Everything else is it is what it is.
I think the most important thing, the Lux that we have in front of us is the family, is really just going out and sharing these moments with great people. I'm really, as I said, very impressed to have my first 20-year-old on a podcast, and I hope that you do many more. I want to think that you've been a beautiful guest today and very aspiring, and I can see that you've really taken those steps to get here today. For you to sit in this chair hasn't been easy. Certainly made sure that you're put to the test, and so just by chance you've ended up here because you turned up. I think that's the important message here. So is there one last message you'd like to deliver to the guys and girls watching this podcast today?
Keep showing up. I think one of the biggest things that I've been surprised about since I started my business, particularly in the last few months, is the opportunities that you'll get just by turning up. So showing enthusiasm, showing that you care, shows people that you have a genuine passion. And when you can show people that you've got a genuine passion, they're going to be willing to take a chance on you. And sometimes that's all you need. All you need is your chance to show people that you can do what you say you do, and that you're legitimate, and that you're worth taking a shot on or investing in. And if you don't have the enthusiasm to show up and do that, those opportunities are never, ever going to come your way. You have to go and search for them yourself. That's something I've learned so far.
And I'd add to that too, that showing up not only when it's easy, but when it's hard. The best opportunities that I've ever come across is the times I didn't want to show up. That could be at 5 a.m. in the morning, or I'm doing a late night swim, or there's something happening. I'm like, why am I here? And then the message is, or you may not find out 2 years later, but make the difficult decisions, keep showing up. I think you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much, Oscar,
Thanks for having me, Steve.
For doing that. Thanks to everybody at LUX Chats here. And of course, that Creative Hub. Thanks to Suit Vibes for the flashy little suit here today. It is pretty blingy. And you look absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing your episode. Thanks again. And thanks, fans, for watching.
Thank you.